Guys, welcome back. It's Monday. It's a new week. It's a new test week, and we're going straight into it. Of course, the Boks heading to Perth. Both teams are now there. Perth Fontaine, as it's affectionately known to anybody who's been there from South Africa. Lots of South African expats there. We expect a big crowd there as well, a big South African crowd as well to be there as well, supporting the Boks, and they'll be confident. Why not? After what they did on Saturday in Brisbane, there's no reason not to be confident. So I thought to do a quick video on just looking at some of the changes that we might see in the teams, and just how it will affect the test match as such. Of course, the Springboks went into the Brisbane game with uh, two youngish players, Sasha Feinberg and Ngomazulu, and Elric Lowe getting their chances, their fifth caps. And so both of them, relatively new on the scene as well. They had a couple of injuries, so Erke Snyman withdrew on the Friday, and in captain's practice, Rowan Nokia got a niggle, so they shifted around. Ben Jason Dixon went to flank, Peter Steph du Toit went to lock, and we saw that sort of shift. So, where does it leave the Boks? Well, I think firstly we must look at the philosophy that they've had over the last 6 years when it comes to team selection. What we often see with the Boks is a pretty simple philosophy. They have their plans, they make exceptionally good detailed plans for the season, and then depending on how results go, Russie's been quite clear on it on a number of occasions that that if the results are good, then they carry on with their plans. If not, they have to reassess, and some of the players, obviously the plans to introduce players get put on hold. That they've been very lucky in that in the last couple of years with the amount of success they had. They've been able to blood a number of young players, and South African rugby is in a very strong position in terms of depth at the moment. So you'd want to see more players. The plan is, of course, to get as many players to 30, 40 caps by the time the next World Cup rolls around, and that's what we all want to see. We all want to see the Springboks in a position of strength going forward. There's a lot of young talent coming through. There's a lot of good young talent coming through, and we want to see that talent come through and do well. Um, the plan is obviously to introduce that talent in phases. Of course, in 2018, when Russia and them took over the first time, there was only 18 months to the World Cup, so it was very much an ambulance job. Well, then they won the 2019 World Cup. Then 2020 hit and COVID, a year without rugby, international rugby, so they didn't have that year after the World Cup to blood players. 2021, they had the Lions series, so they didn't really have a year there either. And they ended up in 2022 playing 18 new caps against Wales, losing the test in Bloemfontein. They're trying to avoid that sort of route going again. And with 4 years and hopefully no more repeats of pandemics and things like that, they'll have 4 years to go through a proper World Cup cycle and try and blood players in that World Cup cycle. That's the plan, at least. And you can see what they're doing. Elric, though, probably get his second test against Australia in Perth. They're looking for a successor for Dwayne Vermeulen there, so he might be the guy. Evan Roos has had tests against Wales and Portugal. When they get back, expect Jasper Visser off his suspension to get his chance again as well. So they're really giving players a go. I expect Sasha as well to keep his place, so I don't think there's going to be too many changes there. Andre Pollard's quite happy taking a back step and just giving Sasha a lot of room to grow. Of course, that's twofold because it gives the senior players' careers a bit more longevity. Several of those double World Cup winners are now in their 30s, and there's a question mark whether they'll make it to the next World Cup. This gives Russie and them time to blood new players while still keeping them that mentorship of those older players around to bring these young guys through the system till they're established as senior international players. So that's the good part about it. And a lot of these players don't mind because it does prolong their careers, and they can play a little bit less, and means you can get that wealth of knowledge still in the squad and use it to your advantage whenever you need it. So that's the process, and I think if you look at the squad that they picked, there's not going to be too many more changes. Of course, this will give them the license to change a few more positions. But I think the key to everything, the main thing needs to be the main thing. The Boks need to win test matches. That's still going to be the first point in any sort of selection meeting. They need to win test matches. They're a team that's notorious for turning up on the big moments, like the World Cups, winning 4 World Cups. but in between World Cups, not being as dominant as they should be. Of course, it's very difficult. There's only one team really, and that's probably the All Blacks that's been dominant between World Cups. So um, it's something they're chasing. That's something they're trying to get to, and that's the first thing. So they need to win because, of course, you lose a test match, extra pressure comes on you. You lose a test match like Saturday after you've won the first one. That pressure is extremely greater as well. There's, of course, also the added advantage that if you win on Saturday, you're in an extremely strong position for the Rugby Championship title, and you can actually go into the test against the All Blacks full of confidence. Two away wins under your belt. They lost against Argentina, even if they win on Saturday in Eden Park, which I probably expect them to do, given their record at Eden Park and the amount of backlash that you get in New Zealand when the All Blacks lose. It's going to be interesting. They'll come to South Africa. They'll be the underdogs, and the Boks will be certainly in a position to almost take the rugby championship if they win at least one of those two with a bonus point in South Africa. But that's going to be those are two tests we can talk about as we get closer to them. For now, if they win on Saturday in Perth, then puts them in an extremely strong position for the rugby championship. It puts them in a position where they can really put the hammer down, and of course they've still got two games against Argentina at the end. Those won't be easy, but they'll be full of confidence given the history against Argentina that they should be able to, win the rugby championship at some point. In that it is theirs now to lose. They've made the most solid start, the most impressive start in the rugby championship. So with that all in mind, and you put all that together, what will the Boks be looking for this week? So what changes will the Boks want to make? If any, I think the first thing we need to say is if you look at Brisbane, while it was a dominant performance in every aspect of the situation, it wasn't a perfect performance. There was still a lot of work. There's a lot of work on the Boks could do. Um, just starting with discipline, there was 3 yellow cards in the last 12 minutes. That's 5 yellow cards in 2 games. They won't be happy with their discipline. They'll be addressing it this week. It'll definitely be a talking point within the team, and they'll really want to sort that out pretty quickly. That's the first thing. The second thing, there was a number of knock-ons. There's enough. They left a number of tries out on the field in Brisbane. You probably could have said they probably left about 30 points out there. They need to get more accurate. They obviously are evolving game plan, a team that's evolving into a new style of play, and you can see they're giving the ball a lot more width, in the game as well. So that's the second thing you've got to take into mind, that there's a lot more accuracy. So you need to give players time on the ball, time in match situations to get to that as well. So you don't want to make too many changes as well, although you want to get your other goal is the future, getting those players to 30, 40 test matches. That's why I think Elric and Sasha will get another shot there. I don't see them nothing, and there must be a temptation as well at the moment to keep Jason Dixon, 19 tackles. What a workhorse. He's been exceptional in every single game he's played for the Springboks. So to keep him around and maybe keep Pieter-Steph du Toit at lock if the injuries persist. It seems like Erkes Neyman will be ready for selection. It seems like Ron Nokia will be all right. They haven't called up replacements, so we believe they'll be okay. So that should make an interesting selection there. What do you go with? Do you go with the old war horses? Do you give Jason Dixon another start at 7? That's a very interesting point to have a look at. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw Jason Dixon in the starting lineup, but how do you drop Pieter-Steph du Toit? One option is to keep like they did on Saturday. It worked for them. Pieter-Steph du Toit and Jason Dixon in the same starting lineup. You could then obviously put either one of Alkeo or Ron on the bench. Maybe not have 3 loose forwards on the bench again. You could do something like that. Or so 2 loose forwards. It was originally 3. Salman Murat was the guy who came in. So you could do that and maybe put one of those guys, Alkeo or Ron or Salman, on the bench, depending on what you want to do. And I wouldn't be surprised if they stick to that, because that really gives another cap to Jason Dixon. It gives another sort of bow to their arrows, as such, arrow to their bows. And it's certainly, on the evidence of Brisbane alone, there's enough of an argument for that. But will they make more changes? I think the thing, if you look at that squad, there's not too many other places they can make changes. I know we're all hungry to see young players play for the Springboks, but you got to be realistic, and winning still comes first. in that respect, the likes of if you look at it, the likes of Gerard Steenekamp getting a start won't be a surprise. You could play any of those two front rows that were on Saturday over there, and they were both dominant. So Vincent Koch, Gerard Steenekamp getting another cap. I think he's really did well. He had a great turnover in the game as well. He certainly put his hand up for that as well. At hooker, do they go? They were talking before the tour of maybe giving Jan Hendrik Wessels a run at hooker, seeing as they see him in a swinger role. Give him some more experience, or do they go with Johan Grobler, who's the number three hooker, and try and get him another test as well? Certainly, I can see a change coming at hooker, and maybe, especially with Bongi going off the field, it doesn't look like it's too serious, but they might just want to save him a bit or save Malcolm, and just give one of the youngsters a chance. I'm not sure both Jan Hendrik Wessels and Johan Grobler will play unless they go for a very hybrid front row of Gerard Steenekamp, Jan Hendrik Wessels can play both tight head or loose head. I'm not sure he's the strongest tight head at the moment, but they could easily go for sort of him at hooker and Gerard Steenekamp at prop. Or Krobbies at hooker as well. At lock, I don't see too much of a change. Obviously, the question about Peter Steff is the one that needs to be answered. If he's not going to be moved from 7, I expect Erkes Neyman to start again. I don't see them. Well, they could surprise us all, I suppose. But at this moment, I'm not sure there aren't that many locks around. So unless they're going to give Salman Murata a go and leave Eben Etzebeth out, put him on the bench, I'm not sure I see a change at lock too much there, other than Erkia, Peter Steff, that whole question there. Um, Loose forward, Sia's going to play. He'll definitely play, and I see Ulrich playing again. So then the question just becomes Ben Jason Dixon or Peter Steff, who's going to play there. It won't be a surprise if Grant Williams gets a start. I mean, Kobus Reinach was exceptional, but those are the two players, and just swapping them around won't really make a difference too much to the team. And at fly-off, expect obviously Sasha to keep his place and get another test as well. He certainly showed enough. I think we must realise also there's going to be some changes in the Aussie side as well. Um, Expect Marika Koribete to be back in the team, so he'll be on the wing. We expect maybe James Slipper to come in. Taniela Tupou, there's still a question mark whether he's going to be back in time from his father's funeral. Some people expect him. Some of the Aussie media say the door's still open for him. Some of them say he's not going to make it. So that's one. I don't think the Box will mind either way. I think James Slipper will strengthen them as well. They've got a couple of HRAs that they had concussions, which takes guys like Nick Frost out, and so they've got a couple of new locks there. Some old names, Sam Carter being one of them, who hasn't played rugby since 2017, or Test rugby since 2017, so he's an old head that might come in. You could expect probably one or two little changes in terms of their loose trio as well in the Aussies, and maybe Tom Liner coming in and fly off, although there's quite a debate in Australia about whether you back Noah Lolesio or you give Tom Liner a start. Either way, there's going to be changes in the Aussie team. They're going to be stronger. We expect them to be a lot better as well. A number of coaches will always tell you that playing teams 2 weeks in a row, the second week, the team that loses inevitably gets better, and they've got more to work on because there's more of a, they've lost the game, so there's more of an urgency in the team to get things right, and so those things come into play. So the Box will definitely not have it their own way, but you can see them putting the hammer down. The only other, there's no real changes I see in the centres or the wings. The only other one is maybe do we play Apelele Fassi ahead of Willie LaRue, although given Willie's playmaking role, I'm not sure they'd really want to do that. Lastly, when I talk about Apelele, he's a great attacking player. He has had problems with his defence in the past. And Rassi made special mention about, if somebody like Korobete hits you hard during the game, you're going to have to get up and shake it off and carry on. And the big dogs are going to have to come out for that. It's quite an interesting quote. Anyway, listen to what Rassi said about why he is not, looking at the Brisbane win as fool's gold. He knows there's a lot of work ahead. But listen to what he said there.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think we turned anything around. A week is a very long time in the rugby, and we've lost 57-0 to New Zealand, and then the next weekend we lost by 2 points at Newlands. So a week in the rugby, one or two injuries, one or two changes in the opposition. So I do think with Australia, you guys are doing brilliant at the Olympics, or the Australians are doing brilliant at the Olympics. And we know the next World Cup is here, so they're definitely getting a momentum. And Joe Smith's a brilliant coach, and I was certainly very nervous before this game because I never knew what Joe will be cooking up. But he's only had 4 games with the guys, and next week it will be better, and next week it will be tougher, and next week we play at a different venue. So I think, yes, we're definitely looking at the future without looking too far ahead because the present then bites you. But for me, the nicest thing, and I think for us as a management group and us as SA Rugby, the fact that the players understand that, and that some guys stand back a little bit, help a little bit, grow a little bit, help the youngster a little bit. Of course, some of the youngsters are going to get some rude awakenings as they go and become better players because opposition gets tougher. Maybe Corambetti is back next week and he slams one or two guys and they must handle it, and then the big dogs must help them. So, yes, certainly eye on the future, but staying in the present, but yeah, trying to do both. I think it will be arrogant to say that's one of our targets to keep them to zero. We came here just wanted to win, and things went our way, and we scored 5 tries, and things went well. But they got an injury, I think, with the winger that really played well. I think one of the props got down, and Locke got injured, and so. No, the 1 try is all right. We gave that away, but we still won the game.
Were you surprised by the kicking game of the Australians the first half, when they were getting rid of the ball and keeping the pressure on them instead of trying to keep the ball in hand? And at the end of the day, they kept on putting that pressure and their defense cracked.
Yeah, look, I can't talk for Joe, but there's certainly, as I can tell you, he's busy building something. We're not 100% sure, and we as players were, and as coaches and as a management team, we were saying, listen, let's try and find out what exactly which way are they going. And they have us guessing. I can tell you because, I'm not 100% sure, are they going to run now? Are they going to kick now? And yes, the game went our way. But none of us can tell you this is exactly how Australia play currently, and maybe that's part of Joe's plan. But happy to answer your second part of your question with us keeping pressure on and trying to break them down on worth. We scored 5 good tries, I thought.
Hello, Rassie. Hello, Sia. Rassie, are you happy with the way Elrich and Sasha used their chances today?
Me, Hendrik?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, no. I think so. I think overall, when Salman came on, he played well. Perry Marco got a yellow, but he certainly brought energy. Quagga, but the two guys playing their 5th matches, but starting for the first time, I think, against a Tier 1 nation with a lot of history at a venue where we normally really struggle. We wanted them to experience that. And they certainly weren't perfect, but there was no lack of effort and confidence, which is probably the most delighted one can be about.
So either way, it's going to be a very interesting selection on Tuesday. Don't see too many changes outside the 23. As I say, Tuko and Prop, we might have one, scrum off another one, and then just the question, what do you do with Ben Jason Dixon? Uh, Other than that, maybe Apalele Fossi comes in, but not too many other changes expected. Who do you like to see in the team? Let me know. Be interesting to hear your thoughts as well. Who do you think deserves to get a chance? Of course, there's a number of players back home that we're still waiting to see and waiting to see them come back. But yeah, I think they're all going to have to wait for their chance for later. The squad that's there, I don't see too many other changes coming through. But there's a number of players waiting at home as well. 8 or 9 of the regulars that aren't playing as well. So yeah, they also come into factor for the All Black tests, and I think we're going to see a much more traditionally strong Bok team against the All Blacks. But the youngsters are certainly pushing their claim. So let me know who you think, and if there's somebody I've left out and I've forgotten, let me know, because obviously we try to do our best on these ones. But thank you for watching. It's always great to chat to you, and I hope you're enjoying these videos.